it's very high level in the description, but I'm not entirely sure if that's the right approach. So on the other hand, and that's okay, I should mention that too, what we're also working on, and that will be part of OpenLeaks at its release and in the very beginning, is that we are working on a knowledge base where we try to collect all the experiences that we make over time. So if these are technical requirements or legal requirements or different things that we experience, we feel they should be pooled into a knowledge base so that people that are trying to do something similar or even the same wherever in the world can just pool from these resources and can get into a dialogue and make sure that there's not a gatekeeping happening, but actually something that is causing more creative projects to happen.
Yeah, just a comment on the last question. I think the one who delivers best for whistleblowers will be the ones used by whistleblowers. So what whistleblowers need is impact without getting hurt. So impact can be done by big mass media or by matching correctly the media and the theme concerned. So we'll see. But I stood up because I wasn't too happy with your answer on the flooding issue. Mm-hmm. I think it's fine for you to say, okay, OpenLeaks will be some kind of technical letterbox at the very beginning, and it's not our business, fine. But I think it's not an answer that you distribute the flooding to even more diversity, and thus creating problems for even more NGOs and creating the same filtering problems at different places in media. So I would ask you to think about implementing in your tool a way that the community gives information about the things in the pool to each other, so that if one member of your organization or end user of your organization has a kind of done a check on a document, then this information should be there available for the others, either to decide, okay, we trust in them, or we don't trust in them, we do the check again, or we don't do it.
Well, that's, okay, I guess we are at the end anyways. So what has to be clear, and that's really important, because I want to make sure that there's no confusion. Whatever you think OpenLeaks will be is probably not 100% accurate yet. So just give us some more time. All these concerns that you have, and they are valid concerns, these are all addressed. It's just not something that I can elaborate on right now, just because it's a really complex topic. So there are a lot of mechanisms that were built into this system to ensure that there's no gatekeeping happening and that there's mutual trust relationships that can be built up within the community, that actually there is a community building happening. And that's what's all going to be explained on the website over time in the next few weeks and months. So just give us some more time. We're in for long-term sustainability and healthy development of a project that is what we feel very important. So just give us some more time. Hmm?
We'll just continue with questions if you don't.
I don't mind. I'm dying 1,000 deaths, but other than that. Nee, das ist schon gut. Ich habe ja genug. Also.
Okay, another question out of the chat. You talk to Netzpolitik.org, you won't talk much about you and WikiLeaks anymore. It's past. How do you explain that you write a book called Inside WikiLeaks?
Yeah, that's a valid question too. So, no, okay, so that's a very personal thing now. When for the last 2.5 or 3 years I've been working with that project, I think I have, especially in this community here and in Germany, more than in any other place in the world, built up a reputation for that project. So when it was clear that we had to part roads, and I was not so sure about some of the principles in the WikiLeaks project anymore, I felt I had to at least publicly say that I'm not so sure about what's going on anymore, and that's why I did this interview in Der Spiegel, and just wanted to sort of make it a bit more relative how much credibility people assume, because I had delivered that to the public for 2.5 years as a speaker of that project. So I did this interview. I talked to Markus at Netzpolitik just to make sure that people understand the basis of my criticism and that they start thinking about the idea or the concept and the implementation of WikiLeaks a bit more critically. And then lots of things started to happen. I realized that there are, first of all, lots of other books that are coming out, and I have no idea how good the basis for research in these books is. So I don't really know how they will spin a story that I think is too important to be misunderstood. There were lots of rumors that were spread by me. I mean, even Süddeutsche Zeitung here had in the magazine an article that quoted some weird allegation saying that it couldn't be ruled out that the people leaving WikiLeaks would be paid by the FBI for criticizing the organization. And all sorts of stuff like this, which was just trying to debase what we had been saying or trying to convene. So Julian was saying that I was just an ex-employee leaving the organization and that I didn't have to be taken too seriously just because people that leave organizations always are critical of their former employers. And I've never been employed by this organization. We were all people working on this collaboratively. And it's just that I felt that the whole public perception was at risk of misunderstanding these whole issues. And then there are a lot of things that happened in the past 3 years that I think people should know about to understand the story correctly. So we always said, and that was one of the basic fundamentals of WikiLeaks, is that we think the historic record and its accuracy is important. And I still stand by that definition. And part of what I have to say, I guess, is part of this historic record. And all the speculation that is going on is just speculated because there's a void of information and no one really knows what had happened and how this all works. We're back here with matters of intransparency and no one really understanding what's going on. And that's why I felt that it is important to tell that story, not just in 5 sentences that I get when some reporter asks me, but tell it in a fair way so that it is fair enough to shed light on all of that story and not just particular angles, whether this is good sides or critical sides. So that's why I decided to do that, if that answers the question. Huh? I don't think so, but no, quite unfortunately not. But then again, that was not. I mean, I'm not into that business at all, and I'm working with someone that understands the whole business of publishing books, and I'm not interested in taking care of any of that. So I will certainly make sure that whatever is happening with what is generated by that book goes to something useful, and that partly will be to make me and others independent so we can continue work on another unfunded project. And it will also hopefully, for example, contribute to the Bradley Manning supporter campaign, which is something I haven't mentioned at all either during all of that talk. I don't know, we're also distracted, you know. We're discussing other legal cases that I think are so shallow compared to one legal case where potentially there's a really courageous person that has made a change, and there's not even the support that was pledged for going to that. So this is all, I mean, I could elaborate on all these things so long, and it's just a bit frustrating to see, and I think that's why we all need to refocus a bit on the things that really matter, and to look critically and support things that are worth to be supported. So. I'm really sorry that I am so tired. I sat here until 6:30 this morning trying to work out a talk, and I think I just should have gone to bed and worked it out this morning. But I'll leave the stage next time someone starts to clap.
Last question.
Yes.
Last question, finally. Out of the chat, also a comment. But
Yes.
the more people you are pulling in to process your data, the more people actually see potential personal data that shouldn't be published.
There are mechanisms for that as well. So it's a multi-layered kind of approach. We'll all make this all public, but I mean, not without a graphic or so. It's really impossible to explain. And it would just lead to some more confusion and follow-up questions. So again, I can only hope that you all give us a few more days so we can, or weeks, to put up the website that will explain it all to you. So we're looking forward to starting testing in January anyways, so that's when the first parts of the technology will go into a live test. And before that, the website will certainly be online. We'll have a great video that shows you how all of this works, and from then on, we'll have a basis for a more detailed discussion, I guess. We'll be having a very large session at the camp next year, so I can only ask everyone to come, and you'll have all the answers you want. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Daniel.